Hey guys, so we are going to work on the robot name. So essentially here we have an uppercase, two letters and three digits, which would be our robot name. And what we want to do is randomly generate this. Okay, so we want a random, two random alphabets and three random numbers. And let's have a look at our test case and learn more about this. So download and cd into robot name. As usual, open up these two files. Alright, so we want to make sure that when we call name on robot object, it comes out in this format. So capital A to Z, 2 digits, 3 digits and 2 alphabets. Alright, okay, so we also want to make sure that when we call robot.name twice, even though name is random, we want it to be the same name. Okay, so it will only change when we reset it. Or in this case, when we call name from different objects, we want to make sure that they are different names. So that's there. And then there's this one here. When we have a seed, we use a seed to generate the random, and we want to make sure that when we call name with the same seed and then we reset, we want to make sure that the second name is different to the first name. Alright, so I wanted to understand how random works in this case first. So what I did was to come over to the random class and check it out. So random has a seed, okay, which is used to generate what we want, the randomness of it. So if I import random, let's have a look. Seed. Alright, so as a random seed. So here you could put anything you want. In this case, I'm going to put hello. Now when I go ahead and generate random, so random has a method called sample. So this allows us to basically sample a population. So in this case, we have this population or a collection. So I'm going to create a list. Let me add more, 4 or 5, okay? And then we have that collection. We say we want to sample 2 from that. So that basically randomly chooses 3 and 1 using our seed. So every time we do this, it gives us a different one. But when we call random first and then sample, you see that? Random first and then sample, it returns exactly the same. Okay, so it uses the seed to generate exactly the same sample. So it's almost like seed allows us to remember the last one that we did. Alright, so but if we call sample without the seed, you can see that the result is indeed random. Alright, so this makes more sense now. So we have a seed with this in there, and we run that, but here we call a reset, okay? And although we use the seed above it, we want to make sure that reset basically changes what we get. Alright, so with that in place, we have some methods we could borrow. We have the ASCII uppercase. So let's play around with this. So I'll go into digits. So digits gives us 0 to 9. Awesome. I'm going to save that into a variable. And we can say random and sample our collection, and we want to get 3 from that. So that's what that's going to do for us. Just to double check, it is 3 digits and 2 alphabets. Alright, so now I can basically run join, and this would join our list together into a string. Alright, so that pretty much does that for us. So let's check out. In here we have ASCII uppercase, Again, I'm going to save this into a variable called b, and that gives us A to Z, all in uppercases. So again, we can sample this collection and say give me only 2 from there. And as before, we can join this together. Alright, so when I got to this point, I'm thinking, okay, that's fine. We could run this a few more times and it's indeed random. And we can run this and it gives us the digits. So I think we have all the tools we need to get cracking with this one. Alright, so this is our robot. We need at least 2 methods here. So we need a way to generate name. So I'm going to call this generate name. Alright, and we also have another method that is required, which is a way of resetting the name. So reset is actual name that is expected to exist, so that's why I've called it that. Alright, so generate needs to have an instance variable called name, and that name will be in the format of 2 alphabets and 3 digits. Alright, so I'm just going to leave it like that for now. So let's find our alphabet, go into string uppercase, make sure it's randomized, and we only need 2 from there. And of course we need to import string, import random, and we have to join our alphabet. Just do it on another line so it's not too long. Alright, so now I have digits, which is similar. So digits is going to be random sample 3, and just as before, we want to join this together, and that would give us something concatenated to be like that. So we call our generate from our initialize, and of course we want to make sure we seed. So when you leave the seed blank, it basically takes in the timestamp of when this object would be created. So it's okay to leave it as that. So it would take the system time, which would be unique before we reset it, and between each reset. So essentially reset would then mean just call our generate name. Once we call generate name, our random seed will be reset to the time stamp, and that should do the trick. Alright, so I think that is it. Let's go ahead and run our test. Name random is not defined. Oh, typo, not ramdum. On line 14 should be random. Okay. Alright, let's do this again. So we have all green. Awesome. So let's see if we can basically get our code to be better. Okay, so I'm going to do a bit more work, make this better. So I'm going to create a static method for our refactoring. I'll call this alphabets. So I want to move all this logic out of here and put it in alphabets. Alright, so now the second line needs to return something. And yep, so now we have that working. It changes to caps, it makes more sense. Alright, so now let's do this. Alphabet, oh, I forgot to change it to caps as well. And then run it again. So it's all green. So refactoring this is better this way. It's easier to read and easier to update. So I'm going to duplicate this bunch of code. I'm going to change this so it says digits. Copy that. We don't need this. Copy this as well and paste it in here. Alright, so again we want to return that. Okay, so and up here we want to say self.digits, call the actual method. Double check, make sure everything is fine. Alright, so so this looks good. Refactoring it this way makes sense. I'm going to get rid of this string interpolation and just put a plus. So it's just simple that way. Double check, make sure everything is working. Again, if we have a look here at random, we're using seed and sample, just two methods from random. So let's just import those two methods. So from random, import seed, import sample. So down here, we don't need to say random.seed anymore. We could just reference seed directly and do the same here and here. Okay, let's double check. Okay, that works. Alright, so again we have string, we have two methods, okay, uppercase and digits. So let's do the same. Just import from string, ASCII, uppercase, and digits. Alright, so with that done, again we could do the same thing, no need to reference strings, just call the methods directly, double check, something ain't right, local variable referenced. Okay, so on line 23, it's clashing, so I need to rename this something else. Okay, now that works, interesting, digits affected that there, local scope. Alright, so now I'm going to refactor this even further. So now this is, I can just return on one line. So we could basically just say return and put our join in this line here, which makes this redundant. Get rid of it. Alright, double check, all green still. And on here, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So return nothing. Alright, sample, and once again, get rid of that. Okay, so that looks good. Double check and it's all there. Okay, so our refactoring is good. I'm happy with that. It's easy to change things now. And let's go ahead and submit and double check and see what other people have done. Learn from other people's codes, read more Python stuff. All right, refresh the screen. All right, so that's our work. All right, so everything looks good. We can go ahead and complete this solution. All right, so let's learn some Python code from people. So this is very similar. On line 10, we have date timestamp, which is what happens if you don't do anything anyway. So that's cool. And then we'll get all the uppercase, and then we randomly select and check the length, get the last one. Okay, so that a little bit more complex. And here is also very similar. Chivalry solution, we know that guy. And then down here we have random letter. So he has a method here that would choose the random alphabet. So he calls it twice above. And then it has random integer between 100 and 999, which will give us 3 digits. Okay, so that makes sense. All right, so go ahead and read and check out other people's codes. Line 5 looks interesting. I'll research and see what that actually does. And the same thing here for every digit in this range. Okay, so that's it guys for this one. I'll see you in the next video.